Missions Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Cannon, the managing partner at Simmons and Fletcher, PC. This podcast is about helping people connect with missions organizations and learn about them in a way that you can decide which one is right for you. If you have an interest in being a guest, please send me an email at pcannon@Simmons and Fletcher. Today, we have a very special guest, Nicole Davis. She is the Executive Director of Operation Achieve Independence, which is www.oaicares.org. And without further ado, Nicole, why don't you tell us a little bit about what your mission organization does?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Paul, for having me. We really appreciate it.
Very welcome.
Operation Achieve Independence was founded on the basis that we would provide a stable independence for youth who are preparing to age out of foster care, as well as those who have already aged out of care. So our constituency is anywhere from the age of 14 years old as we start working with them while they're in high school to prepare to age out of care, all the way up to, I think, one of the ladies who we've served through Lone Star College was 56 years old. So at this time, our organization does not have an age cap, but we essentially, like most everyone, is within the 18 to 26-year-old age range. So that's kind of what you're looking at. But we provide pretty much wraparound services. The only thing that our organization does not provide at this time is emergency financial assistance and housing. So those two key components, which are very critically important to what these kids need, we are not able to provide those. But we do provide transitional living support, which generally looks like, maybe they need help filling out an application for an apartment. They need help budgeting. We've got some great partners that work with us for budgeting and financial wellness. We work with them on, what it takes to prepare to age out of care. So whether they're 18 and maybe next week they're having to move out of the home they're in, or if they're 26 and they still just need a helping hand, that's kind of what we do for that portion of our program. We also, and this is kind of the bread and butter of our organization, is our education and career prep program. When I was brought onto the organization back in 2022, and I sat on the board of directors before that, the objective was that we would figure out what the gaps were for this particular group of people and how do we best fill them. So we spent about 6 months really digging into where are the gaps, how do we meet the need, what is really lacking in this arena. And we found that a lot of that was education. They just don't know the benefits that they receive as a youth who has foster care history, because if they spent a certain amount of time in foster care in the state of Texas, they receive free in-state tuition for colleges. And a lot of these kids just don't know that because, there might just be a gap in communication with their case manager, or maybe a gap in communication with their college counselor or their college readiness counselor or their high school college readiness counselor. So we wanted to fill that gap. So basically what we did was we came in and decided we're going to provide services for these youth that tell them the benefits that they receive, how they do it, help them hold their hand along the way, establish, what fees they have, what are the little things that are getting in the way of you truly going to college and seeking out that post-secondary education, or even just going to a trade school or getting the skills you need to do a particular career. What are the things that are getting in your way? So we have filled that gap, tried to fill that gap, and I feel like we've done a very good job at doing it with the limited resources that we have. So I'm very proud of that program, and it has gone a long way since we started it back in 2023 is kind of when we initially launched that program in January. And then the other key things that we do, we provide life skills classes. So we do this either by going into residential treatment centers or group homes, high schools, other housing organizations, and we teach them life skills either through classes or on a one-on-one basis. We do it all on a as needed basis. So if they need individual one-on-one life skills training, we can do that. If they need more of a group setting, we can do that too. So we bring in volunteers to help run that portion. So it's critically important for us to have volunteers in that area because we utilize them so heavily there. And then I would say that the third biggest thing that we're doing, and this is a program that we'd love to really amp up this year, is our mentorship program. And we do this by working with churches, other organizations that already have mentorship in place, counseling places that maybe want to utilize their counselors in that way in like a mentorship realm. So that's sort of how that program functions. And then a portion of our education and career prep program that we just recently launched, but that's gaining momentum very quickly, is that we're going into some of our local school districts and providing them with trauma-informed training. It's a very introductory course. It's a 4-hour training that we offer to educators, counselors, colleges if they want it, anybody who wants the training. It's very valuable to have because it teaches them how trauma affects the brain and the way that our brain learns, and how do we approach the kids who do have very intense trauma, which is generally this constituency that we serve.
Wow. And so tell me a little bit about just, I guess, the numbers and statistics. How many kids out there are in foster care? How many are you guys serving? What area are you guys serving? That sort of thing.
Yeah, so we serve within the greater Houston area. So right now we're providing as many remote services as we can. We don't actually have any overhead space, which is nice because
Oh,
our
wow.
services travel with us. Now, in the future, we will need that space because we'll need somewhere where, our youth can land to get what they need from us. But for now, the way that we're trying to function it is to bring our services to them. So we are serving within the greater Houston area. And right now, the stats are kind of funny, but in Texas this year, we have over 1,000 youth who will age out of foster care. So we're just preparing them in the best way that we can to be able to provide them with services. Now, because we're only the greater Houston area, there's way more outside of our arena that are aging out. But there's an annual conference every year called Education Reach for Texans. That is where we all kind of all of us in Texas get together and we discuss how do we best reach these kids in the best way possible. Because some of them are, they're receiving great information from their case manager, their foster parent, while others are not. So it just kind of depends on where they are and how much the school counselors and the teachers and the case managers are willing to communicate the information with them about how they can best age out of care and utilize all the resources that they have.
Wow. Okay. Well, I was reading a little bit about your founder and the background story online and stuff, but how long has this particular organization itself been in operation, for lack of a better word?
Yeah. Yeah, so Tina James founded our organization in 2017. She had a very clear vision from God that this is what I'm supposed to do. This is how I'm supposed to do it. And I've known Tina for a while. I grew up with Tina. Tina went to the same church that I did. I was her daughter's Bible study teacher. And at the time that she had this vision, I was working for an organization doing similar work out in Conroe, Texas. And so she told me her vision and I said, I think this is phenomenal. I'd love to be involved in any way I can. And in 2019, she asked me to sit on the board. She founded the organization actually on the basis that we would provide housing. Her original vision was, I want a tiny home community that provides these kids with the independence that they want and truly need, but also that they still have a community that they can lean on. Because so often what we see is that they do want independence. They want to be alone. They like the idea of living alone. They like the idea of doing it on their own. But when you tie yourself to an apartment lease, or then you're tied to that for a whole year.
Right.
And you can't get out of it. Whereas with our program, it's like, okay, you have the independence of being on your own in this ideally tiny home, but you also have a community of people that you rely on that are going through the same experience as you, that we have staff on hand to handle some of the traumatic events that they've been through. So that was the original vision. In 2019, we had a gala that really helped us to gain the right amount of funds to do that. And then COVID hit
Oh,
and
wow. Timing.
went. Yes, the timing was horrible, but I truly believe that God said, okay, it may not be time for housing, but I want you to utilize these funds in a different way. I want you to hire staff. I want you to really take this thing to the next level. And I feel that we've been able to do that. So yeah, the original basis was housing, and that is the future vision. We would love to provide housing. There's a very big need for housing in this arena.
Wow. Okay. So obviously you have a future vision for growth. I I was kind of chuckling when I was listening to you talk about how they're looking for their chance to be out there on their own and free. In my mind, I'm thinking I've got an 18-year-old graduating from high school. I've got another 20-year-old in college, and I'm thinking, yeah, gee, isn't that kind of natural? They hit 18 and they want their freedom. It's
Yes.
that's kind of the natural stage at that step is okay, I've been dependent for so long. Now I'm ready to get out here. But here we have a group of people that probably need a little extra help in mentoring and figuring out how to take that next step because they haven't necessarily had that parent there the whole time that could lead them in the right direction and show them where they were going to go for the rest of their life. So that's awesome. How big of an organization is this organization?
We are still very tiny. We're tiny, but we're mighty. We are a staff of two. And although Tina is not listed as a staff person, she's our board president. She puts in just as much work as the two of us. So we really appreciate her for her volunteer efforts as she continues to provide for the organization. But she really does function at a staff level. But yeah, as far as staff, we have me as the executive director, and I started as the program director. So the objective was figure out what programs we need, put that in place, and then oversee the organization as a whole. So that's what I'm doing in capacity right now. But I also do all of our case management. So I kind of serve as both the executive director and the program director right now, just because we don't have what we need to be able to hire a program director. So
Right.
that's a very important piece of our work that we will need in the next year because we have a very heavy caseload. And so really overseeing like the operations side and the program side is what I do currently. And then we have a development manager who we just hired back in January. And she serves as she does all of our fundraising. So she's overseeing our event that's going to happen in November. And then we should have another skeet shoot in the spring. We just had one last spring. It was a
Oh,
ton
wow.
of fun. And then we have a gala coming up in the fall and then a skeet shoot in the spring. And then, all of our grant writing, everything, she does all of that. So she oversees the money flow of the organization, and I oversee some of the other portions of it.
Well, I will drop just a little hint in your ear. My law firm has sponsored two skeet sheets. Excuse me.
Wow.
My law firm has sponsored two skeet shoots this year already, and we also
Okay.
have entered teams in both of them. So we like skeet shoots.
Okay.
but
I will send you
So
information
definitely
then.
keep us in mind when that's going on because we do
Yes.
enjoy it. My daughter comes along and likes to participate, and we just have a
Yeah.
good time with it. So I can definitely vouch for it. There's a lot of fun ways out there to raise money, but that's my favorite. So
Oh,
how neat,
yes.
how neat. Well, that's awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about fundraising opportunities that you guys have. You dropped a little hint about a skeet shoot. You dropped a hint about a gala, but tell us a little bit more about those things and what else you have.
Yeah, so we actually have a really fun gala too. It's called Changing the Odds. So we do a casino theme, and we
Fun.
bring in a casino company that does all of our casino games for us. But we also have you'll get to hear from me, and I'm a talker, so that's always fun. You'll get to hear from me. You'll get to hear some of our success stories from some of the youth that we serve. It's a fun night. The venue is beautiful. Right now, we're doing it at Shirley Acres, which is in the Spring area, and that event takes place on November 1st in at Shirley Acres at 7 p.m. So that's really fun because you'll get to do dinner and then casino games right after, or dinner and hearing me talk. So if you like to hear a talker, it's me. So get to hear some talking, get to hear some success stories, and then we'll move into the fun part of the night of the casino. And people have a blast. We'll be posting some pictures pretty soon on our social media for just to get people amped up for this year's event. We currently don't have a presenting sponsor, so I'm looking for a presenting sponsor still.
Wow.
So that is a really great opportunity to get your name out there. We've already sent out save the dates, but we have not sent out invitations. So if anyone is interested in sponsoring at, the presenting sponsor level, that's a great opportunity to get your logo out there and really show that you're supporting what we do for our organization. And then, yeah, so we haven't scheduled the skeet shoot yet for the spring, which will happen, like early 2025. But as soon as we schedule that, we'll get that going. But we do that out at Blackwood Gun Club in Conroe.
Oh, okay. I have not been to that one.
Oh my gosh, you will love it. If you like to skeet shoot, it's a beautiful course. We
Awesome.
have a lot of fun with it.
Well, that's great. Tell me a little bit about volunteer opportunities. Do you guys accept volunteers, and what sort of things do they do for you?
Yes, we do. So right now because it's summertime, I am in the prime time of trying to find volunteers that will help us with education and career prep support. So that volunteer generally goes in with me to the schools, usually the high schools, and we work with youth who are preparing to age out of care. So explain to them their benefits that they'll receive, talk to them about their goals and what they want to do, and give your opinion on like where you think they'd be a good fit, see what colleges they're interested in going to or trade schools. We work with some other great organizations that provide, very specific training for these young adults and gives them college credit, because if they don't activate their tuition waiver by the time they're 25, then they'll lose it and then they don't get to use it. But if they activate it, they can use it for the rest of their life. They can go get 12 PhDs and it won't cost them a dime. As long as they're going to a state school, they'll be supported in that way. So we do that. And summertime is a great time to find those volunteers because it's quiet at the school districts. It's quiet, pretty quiet at the college level. So right now is a great opportunity to get plugged in there so that we have some time to train you before school starts in August. Another one that we have is through our mentorship program. If you're interested in mentoring, it's a great way to get plugged in with one specific young adult. So the way we try and do that is very organic. We don't just match anybody with anybody. We try and make sure that
Okay.
it's going to be a really good fit between the mentor and the mentee. Otherwise, we run into more issues than we bargained for. So
Right.
that's a great opportunity. And then one of our primary one right now is life skills trainers. We are looking, and life skills is anything. Like I think people specifically think, oh, I have to go do a cooking class or I have to tell them how to budget. It's anything. Like we would love for them to learn how to crochet just to have that skill. We'd love for them to learn how to sew. We have someone who comes in and teaches like a planner organization class. So she helps them learn how to time block on a paper planner and like the benefits of using a paper planner over just using your digital because they're so used to just digital. So
Right.
we try and teach them those skills, but anything. I mean, how to fill out a college application, do the FAFSA form. And we do work heavily with the community college on FAFSA, and they help us facilitate the success that those youth have from high school to filling out the FAFSA form and then actually getting into college and like what's the best way to fill it out. Because so often some of those questions are misconstrued, and then those youth don't end up with as much grant money as they could to go to college, which then,
Gotcha.
cuts into like how they pay for their dorm and their meal plans and all that good stuff. So yeah, we're looking for life skills trainers to do just about anything. And those volunteers can be anywhere because we have other organizations that we work with throughout the state, but
Mhm.
particularly in the Houston area, we have organizations that we work with all over the city of Houston. So we can plug life skills trainers into one that we work with here in Spring, one that we work with in the Katy area. We are trying really hard to get in with Katy ISD. We have worked with them before, but we'll be working on providing one of our trauma trainings for them in the next couple of months. So if anyone has any interest over in that area, they're welcome to reach out to me, and I would love to give some more information on how they can get involved over there because eventually it'll be pretty hard for me to make all of my travel over in that direction. And if we have some qualified volunteers who can help, then that would be awesome. So those are kind of our biggest areas. We also do, with some organizations or some companies like to do drives. We like to provide hygiene kits for Lone Star College.
Okay.
So we put together, gallon Ziploc baggies of feminine products, toothpaste, deodorant, body wash, shampoo, conditioner, all that good stuff. And we like to funnel those through the college so that they can, have some stuff on hand for their young adults to use who have foster care history.
Interesting. Do they have like a closet or something that they have that's open for people who would have that kind of need, or how does that work with the college?
So we work very closely with Lone Star College. That is
Okay.
like one of our most premier partners because we get a lot of our young adults from there. They have 8 campuses and that includes the Lone Star College online. But yes, so Lone Star College has something called a Lone Star College Navigators program, and the navigators are skilled in the benefits that young adults out of foster care receive. So
Oh, awesome.
they will automatically be the advisor for youth who have foster care history or if who have been adopted out of foster care. So we just go through them directly. We provide them with hygiene kits. We do backpacks. We'll have a school supply drive coming up pretty soon for college students because we're filling 100 backpacks for them, and then we'll distribute those in July. So that's coming up. In fact, I'm probably launching that later this week, I would say. So we'll have like an Amazon wish list that people can purchase from, and it'll get shipped directly to my house. And then I'll be able to fill those backpacks and we'll distribute them to college students.
Okay, awesome. That's great.
So we just worked through that Navigator program. They're a great resource for like making sure that those youth have everything that they need.
And I was going to ask that question. I think you kind of answered it, but as far as how you find people or people find you when they need help or assistance from your organization, does that come primarily through other organizations identifying people and connecting them with you, or do you do some kind of outreach? How does that work?
Yeah, so it mainly happens by word of mouth through other organizations. So we mostly receive referrals. A lot of those come through Lone Star College. We also receive them through some of our partnering organizations, Hope's Path, Journey Home Houston. Those are two of our main like housing programs that we work with. We also receive them through BCFS, which is like the education training voucher. We receive referrals through them because there are some things that the ETV cannot pay for that maybe we'd be able to step in and help with, pertaining to school. We also work with just many local organizations that refer their youth to us.
And I guess they can
Yeah.
also contact you, I guess, directly through the website itself.
Yeah.
I was noticing on the website, if people want to just donate, maybe they don't have time to dedicate, but would love to be a part in some small way, want to donate. You have a listing online there of different ways and things that they can donate and how to go about doing that, correct?
We do, yeah. So we work with Donate Stock. So if you have stock that you want to donate, you can do that through Donate Stock. We have all of that information on our website. Estate planning as well. We have worked with some estate planning. We also have you can be a monthly donor, which is called our Champion for Independence program. And those donors, they give on a monthly basis. That is incredibly important to our mission, just that sustainability, but also one-time donations as well is on our website also.
Well, thank you so much for teaching us about what you guys are doing and all these things that you guys are out there helping with. Before I let you go, is there anything else that I haven't covered or didn't think to ask about the organization that you'd like to share?
I don't think so. I mean, I would just like to say I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity to be able to tell you what it is that we do and just to really get to dig into I love our mission. I love what we do. I'm very passionate about it. I would probably be doing it even if I wasn't staff in some way. So I just appreciate the opportunity to be able to tell you what it is that we do, but also that you're helping us get our name out there because we are small, but we are mighty. I will say that so far, we have not had to implement any kind of like wait list for our organization, but that is coming very near in the future. So the faster that we can get volunteers and steady donors, the better we can serve this particular group of people.
Thank you so much for being on and being a guest and just telling us about the mission itself. Again, this is Paul Cannon with Meet Houston Missions and the Simmons and Fletcher Local Mission Podcast. Had a great opportunity to talk to Nicole Davis and learn about Operation Achieve Independence and how it helps foster care youth transition into the society. What they're doing is great. If you have a mission that does hands and feet type work like this here in the Houston area, please give us a call and we'd love to have you as a guest as well. Thank you again so much, Nicole.
Thank you.